After mindlessly scrolling through social media, I finally come to a conclusion that Armenian internet is genuinely improving. Now you see, our internet suffered from this one thing known as brainrot, and I'd also say that the Armenians were the ones inventing it and spreading it around the world.
Իսկ ինձ թվում է Իսրայելը չի համարձակվի խփել Պարսկաստանի պես հզոր պետությանը։ Եթե Ածիկը համարձակվել է ինձ ղրգի պիվի, ուրեմն Իսրայելը մեկից մեկ կհամարձակվի խփի Պարսկաստանին։
But let's be real though, too much brain rot for the entire internet can actually rot the entire internet. Also, let's not forget that if we put 2016 memes, the MLG memes and whatnot, in this era, it would still be considered as brain rot, meanwhile it is not. And here's the thing, if something is too much, it automatically becomes too linear and too annoying. But here's the thing, was it always this way or not? Now you see, comedy is very central to Armenian society, and if you're Armenian, you probably know a shit ton of jokes about Abarantsis, Kyavartsis, Vanadzortsis, even Gyumretsis. Now if you get all those characters together, you can write an insane lore about it. It also looks like a slander, which mimics the 2021 to 2022 slander videos about fans explaining this, enthusiasts explaining that, or the fan versus the enjoyer. We had it before, and I frankly say Armenian humor in this sense is pretty based. Vobshem, let's go into a historical deep dive too, shall we? As we know, the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, with it bringing down an entire communist system. Factories which were once public property became suddenly privatized and were exploited by corrupt oligarchs. Eventually, this started an era in Armenian history known as Dark and Cold Years, or in Armenian Mut եւ Ցուրտ տարիներ. During this time, you had electricity for 1 hour for the entire day. And during this time, Armenian moms would basically speedrun the entire 1 hour by watching Santa Barbara and cooking food. This provided the perfect conditions for Armenian comedy to flourish. So before it was KVN, now you have people making skits, and those were basically made from the same people that were in KVN. First of all, you would have Gevori Botser, Bots means a joke. Then you have Ashot Ghazaryan's Botser. Those became very popular back in the day, but then something new came up, which eventually stuck with Armenians to this day. Enter Kargin Haghordum, the ultimate Armenian sketch show.
Вы кого имели в виду? Я имел в виду Гитлера, товарищ Сталин. Ванька, а ты на кого подумал?
What started as a small project eventually grew to become the Armenian sketch show that is still resonating to this day. What contributed to it is its timelessness. For the new Gen Z audience back in that day, millennials, Gen X, and much more. Another cool thing coming from the 1990s is Top 10 of Rabiz, which I wouldn't say is so resonating to this day for most Armenians, but it's still one of the most goated things that can come out of Armenia during this time. This basically mixed Western pop music with Armenian Rabiz music, creating its own genre, we can say. Then we have the movie Mer Baky, which if we translate would be like Our Neighborhood. This basically shows your average interaction in an Armenian neighborhood in a more comedic sphere. It was so successful they made a sequel and a trequel to it. However, it fell off quite recently. The average human interaction in a neighborhood eventually became a side quest or a mission with a Chinese dude playing inside. So you're just gonna went to see the Chinese guy doing stuff around the movie and not just focus on the actual focal point, which is supposed to be the neighborhood. Well, you see, the thing is with Mer Baky, you still get the same enjoyment after watching it several times. You see, it's quite rare to have a movie where you can binge watch it, let's say 2 or 3 times and have the same amount of enjoyment. Because after the first time, the movie is just, it's too predictable. But with Mer Baky, you discover new things as you watch the movie over and over. And don't get me started on the songs. They eventually became bangers. Well, you see, Mer Baky is the type of movie where an actual fight can turn into a musical that is actually entertaining to watch. Mind you, all of this was before the internet. Now imagine what would happen if internet would join this entire mix. But let's think this through. Is a meme culture truly a meme culture without internet? Well, no. And the reason why I brought those stuff up before the internet is how resonating it was with the Armenian audience that it eventually migrated to the internet. And eventually, with the arrival of social media, Armenian internet started to become more and more vibrant. And I'd argue the first ever big community Armenians built on social media is gotta be in Odnoklassniki. I mean, you could have made groups, you can friend someone, you can become guests into someone's profile if you're stalking people, you can play games, you can own playlists and whatnot. All of this is quite revolutionary in a social media. Well, you see, many Armenians also use social media to play games in. Like for instance myself, I used Odnoklassniki to play Qyartu online with my friends. Well, you see, Qyartu online is like the Russian bootleg of Minecraft, but it's based on multiplayer rather than single player. Vobshem. Another cool game is, and I'm probably sure most of those people in post-Soviet countries played it too, is Butilka. So it's about a bottle that spins, alright? And wherever the tip lands, you can send kisses to that person, you can riz, let's say, and eventually, if you're lucky, you can get the golden ticket to Chopan. This is where the internet meme culture started to evolve as well. You see, Armenians at that time also started making memes about eating mangoes and whatnot. Crazy polls such as Messi being less worth than 20 drams. And by all means, it was wild, and I mean really wild. It also brought the lexicon too. Likes were class at that time. So if you're Armenian watching this video, put a class. And then something happened. As Armenians discovered what Facebook is, many started to migrate over to it. And it became the thing if you wanted to look cool and flex on someone being on Odnoklassniki. Eventually it became the boomer section of Armenian internet culture. Enter Instagram and TikTok. Nefors became more Nefor, Altushkas became more Altushka, Qyartus became more Qyartus, and whatnot. As for TikTok, formerly Musically, it introduced a new medium for memes. This is where OG Armenian brainrot eventually migrated. You see, TikTok live battles, which were intended to show talent, became a place to flex on people. And of course, we cannot forget about comment wars. You see, comment wars are a full-on ritual at this point. Like in other fights, you would just fight right away, but in Armenia, fighting it's a whole new ritual. You get to discuss where to fight and when to fight, and usually it's a place that is dark and no one can see you. It's a literal mess by itself, and it all starts from a stupid wonky comment, which makes the entire comment section ritual ridiculous. Anyway, back to Instagram. Remember how I used to tell you that Qyartus became more Qyartus? But here's the thing. Qyartus were already by default Qyartus. Instagram didn't change their Qyartu level or something, but it gave them a newer way to interact. Hence, you see newer types of brainrot. And probably that brainrot will make you think that the brainrot on Instagram is actually worth it, because in Armenia, it's way worse. This is also the place where you would see those meme formats with a chunk of text, probably a reference from the video as the caption, and a bunch of stickers. Oh, and don't get me started on those 13 to 14-year-olds trying to show their romantic side through Instagram reels. Что поделаешь, Mikhoskov. And then you see the rise of post-ironic content on Instagram. It's basically a meme movement with a lot of irony going on. And if I'm not wrong, the post-irony content in Armenia starts with this page known as Arm Postirnoia. I don't know, you can consider this as a rebellion against whatever was mainstream on Armenian internet for a long time. Now, Arm Postirnoia created this platform, this new trend of post-irony memes in Armenia, which became popular amongst new creators and eventually created a new meme community. Out of this community, many meme lords came. For instance, the legend himself, Mems404. This dude single-handedly pushed post-irony content and Armenian meme content to the next level. And it also inspired many new creators to step into the stage. And now it is so diverse, you can divide Armenian meme culture into old school and new school. A general rule of thumb is many Armenian post-irony accounts or meme accounts have obnoxious names, which eventually became a tradition for many other meme pages to come. But here's the thing. Most old school accounts are either deleted or inactive now. For example, you got Rozvinaski, Kanach Vedro, Armenian Army Memes, Gazanik, Ayraratsi, Yerevansi Zoomer, Cherovli Bajak, and of course, Havi Masov Shaurma. And in the new creators section, you got creators such as Alobarevzes, Ayo Arm Media, High MV, Kavorsonic, and much more. And then, there's me. Started off old school and still rocking to this day. And now you see why Armenian social media is starting to evolve. With the rise of post-irony pages, many other aesthetic content also became popular. By adding new variety to whatever exists on social media, it eventually starts to overwrite whatever was before. So if there was trash content before, this new content starts to override it, eventually giving hope, potential. This by itself proves that even one of those most doomed angles of internet can actually evolve and become something watchable. Crazy how we went from how Armenians invented brainrot into the history of Armenian popular culture and memes. Vobshem sense baner eli. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, եթե ուզում ես. and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget the class.